In this video, we're going to talk about the 3 best product niches for beginner Amazon resellers to go after. We're going to talk about the pros and cons of each, how to get ungated to sell them, as well as the best practices for finding those items and my personal strategies that are going to lead to over 3 million in Amazon sales this year. If you're brand new to the channel, welcome. My name is Miles. I'm a 24-year-old online arbitrage seller, and I post 3 videos a week to help you make more money on Amazon. Make sure to subscribe down below, check out the links in the description, and let's jump inside my screen for the pros and cons list. All right, let's get into 3 best beginner niches for Amazon resellers in terms of if you're just looking to get your first sale or get that snowball rolling. It's the most important thing by far is getting sales, is getting revenues, getting proof of concept, getting something listed MF, sending your first batch of products into FBA. Even if you lose money, getting in the game and starting to learn the process is so important. So in terms of the first one of the 3, I would say definitely I'm a huge fan of shoes and clothing as a niche, right? So shoes, clothing, and apparel. Some pros in terms of it is that it's super easy to ungate via eBay. You can just use eBay.com, find 10 of a Nike item, 10 of an Adidas item, 10 of an Under Armour item. The shoes, clothing, jewelry category as a whole doesn't require an ungate, so it's just by brand. So I'd recommend if you're getting going, do like Nike and Adidas, for example, from eBay, and that'll be good. Another major pro is that pretty much everything has variations, different sizes, different colors. This adds complexity to it and draws away newer sellers who get confused by variations, aren't really sure how to read the sales ranks, read the keepas when stuff happens like that. We'll look at one of those in a few minutes here, as well as in a lot of my other videos I talk about reading stuff, keepa with variations, stuff like that and everything. So I see that as a feature, not a bug. It's something that once you know how to do. A lot of people get immediately drawn away. Like I deal with thousands of people who are interested in doing this. A lot of people are scared of stuff with variations. They don't really see how it works and everything. So shoes and clothing, having lots of different sizes, lots of different colors really helps kind of the bull case in terms of that being stuff you want to sell, because lots of different sizes, lots of different colors, people don't know what the best ones to sell. Maybe everyone goes to the really common ones, the 9, 10, 11, ones like that, which can lead to really low competition in some cases and great ROIs for you and I on stuff as well. Okay, many duplicate listings. This is kind of a controversial take on stuff, but if you search like Nike hoodies, for example, right, you're going to see a bunch of different listings. This shouldn't really exist. Amazon just lets it exist for whatever reason on stuff, and that, once again, similar to variations, draws away a lot of newer sellers. They're kind of confused about it, right? But for you and I who are really serious about this, we're willing to take the time to look at a specific one, open up all the different listings, look, okay, this one's a 10K rank, this one's a 52K rank. However, the 10K rank's a 20% ROI, while the 48K rank is a 60% ROI and has less competition, right? I would recommend treating them as their own individual listings. If they're both good, buy both of them. The customers are clearly buying both of them if the ranks are low enough, right? So just make better judgments around the sales ranks and stuff. But there's tons of duplicate listings, which in my opinion is a great opportunity for us who are very serious about it, take the time to really dissect those listings and such, as well as another pro. So high ASP. So ASP stands for average sale price, right? So compared to some other types of categories, beauty items, used books, for example, electronics are a similar one to this. They have a really high average sales price. So shoes, clothing, that stuff like that is much more expensive than your typical like deodorant or, body spray, something like that, right? So because the ASP is higher, it leads to more scalability, because 10 units of an $80 shoe is $800, while 10 units of a $7 deodorant is only $70. So you need a lot more items potentially on that, as well as because these, Nike, Adidas, stuff like this isn't carried at like big retailers, typically Walmart, Target, stuff like that. It leads to the websites that it's being carried on having high couponability, because they're not the biggest sites in the world. It's like stuff like Dick's Sporting Goods, right? So like a B tier retailer, stuff you see all over the place, but it's not like in every town the way Walmart is. That's the place we're buying a lot of these types of items. And because it's more the BC type retailers, not the big flagship ones you see in every town, this leads to a lot of opportunity to coupon stuff, right? And okay, you're thinking, if we can coupon it, why doesn't everybody coupon it? Because we are taking the time to look for the hard to find ones. We're Googling them. We're not just focusing on the ones they send in our email or the ones that show on Rakuten. No, you can Google Nike.com coupons, Foot Locker coupons. You can, have rewards accounts, create accounts on all these websites, look for them sending you extra stuff like that. And that creates a major competitive advantage on stuff. Okay, so they're all, with every pro, there's going to be some cons, right? So because shoes and clothing, apparel, stuff like that has a lot of sizes, that leads to higher return rates. If you're mainly in clothing, it's going to be around 5%. If you're mainly in shoes, it's going to be upwards of 10%, which naturally means you have to set your ROI higher. Returns are a part of the game, and they, definitely do happen on stuff. And if you're doing FBA, they'll most of the time just get added back to your inventory, but it is an inconvenience and, can cut into profitability for sure on stuff. So you want to, if you're mainly going to be in shoes, in my opinion, set your average ROI like 35% rather than the 25 to 30% I recommend for other stuff on that. As well as, sometimes Nike.com will have a big sale that can lead to saturation on stuff, specifically on the shoe side of things, just more easier to find stuff like black and white Air Force Ones, for example. As well as some stuff in shoes clothing can be a little bit more seasonal, which I wouldn't necessarily call like a major con, but it sure is a con if it's in off season for it and the sales rank is 5x'd or something like that. As well as in the niche overall, it's semi-limiting belief saying this, but in terms of like the big brands, there's very low wholesale potential. So if you're in this niche, it is not going to be the kind of thing you can ascend into wholesale and potentially start working with brands on for the most part, if we're talking about the biggest brands in the world on that. Okay, getting into number 2. So beauty and grocery is my second one, and this is in no particular order on stuff. Beauty and grocery I think is great. I don't do a ton of it myself on stuff, but it's a super easy ungate via Frontier Co-op, frontiercoop.com. Order 10 of something that's in the beauty category and use that to ungate. Use the to ungate the brand as well. Pros, zero seasonality for the most part, outside of like certain things, but for the most part, a lot of stuff performs well year round. Therefore, you can potentially find some really good replenishable items because this is the kind of stuff people buy again and again, which leads to tons of volume. As well as on top of that, there's tons of wholesale potential too, and that this is the niche a lot of wholesale sellers operate in. So there's a lot of room to ascend up into that if your goal long-term is wholesale, which I think it probably should be. On that, it's easy to understand due to lack of variations, and then they're also super small items. So, and because they're low cost, you can fit, or because they're very small, you can fit a ton in each box, which leads to potentially lower shipping costs, easier scale, more stuff going to one warehouse, less split shipment, stuff like that. So I'm a big fan of beauty grocery. It's an easy ungate, a lot of stuff pretty cheap, and then very, very low return. Some stuff you can't even return. Cons, low ASP, so that is an easier barrier to entry, and because there's a lack of variation, that is going to lead to more competition on stuff. But it also, on the the flip side, it leads to being more wholesale friendly and stuff, as well as it's more difficult to coupon, which leads to potentially more saturation on different listings. And obviously, there's never saturation if we're good, but just in terms like thinking holistically, in at the beginning, right? So it's lower ASP, there's not variation, so naturally there's going to be more sellers on stuff, and that's easier to find, so there might be less replenishability on certain listings. With that being said, obviously if you're good, you're not going to have issues, but it's important to go through the 6-month, a year, 2-year process of getting very good, which I did, and everyone has to go through at the start on that. Okay, and then switching to the third, so used books here is like pretty much what everyone recommends to start with on that. You guys can see right here, I'm gonna have to put my face over it, but there's me cleaning out a storage unit in 2019 with my boy Andy. We got all these books for free on that. It's like kind of weird, right? You get an Amazon thinking of selling like toys or clothing or deodorant, stuff like that, and when literally like a niche you guys all can start out with today is literally used books, right? There's no ungating required, so there's no excuse for that. There's oftentimes zero inventory cost. Go on Facebook Marketplace, post a flyer you make on Canva, canva.com, canva.com. You can use that, create a flyer, free book pickup service, post it in Facebook Marketplace, post in your local yard sale Facebook groups, post on OfferUp, post on Letgo, stuff like that. Offer to sell books on consignment. Check if you have any books you don't want. You probably do. Take the SellerAmp app, scan those barcodes on stuff, and there's no ungating requirement, and used books are insanely cheap, so the money excuse doesn't really make sense. Kind of like, do you actually want to do it or not on stuff? You can go to your local thrift store, take the SellerAmp app, scan all the barcodes. If it's under 1 million rank, buy it. You're going to be buying stuff for like 25 cents, $1.50, stuff like that. You can potentially get a really, really high ROI on, way higher ROI on than any other category of stuff, basically. And it lets you make your mistakes really cheap because you're risking $1 on something. You're risking 50 cents on something. You're risking just your time because you got the books for free on stuff. And you literally probably already own inventory you can sell. It's just going through the process of creating an account, taking the SellerAmp app,
going and scanning books and seeing what happens. Like literally, I'm looking at 2 books right next to me right here that are profitable on Amazon for when I'm done with them. On that, and also just very low return rates in general. Like people who buy books, they're good people. You know, they're trying to read stuff and everything, and naturally leads to lower return rates on stuff. Definitely some con zone that it's much harder to scale, like way harder to scale, because ultimately scaling this business comes down to spending more money on inventory and everything. It can be difficult to deploy capital in a profitable manner on books at scale. I would recommend just using this as a thing to get the ball rolling, as well as harder to reprice because you're going to have literally thousands of SKUs. Like in the year and a half I did books, I have like, I think it's like 3,500 SKUs, and I've been doing OA for like a year and a half, and I only have 1,500 total and stuff. So there's a lot less volume per unit because it's not like a thrift store is gonna, in many cases, have 10 of one copy of a book and stuff like that. So you're gonna deal with less volume. You're gonna have more SKUs, which is difficult to reprice, but also thinking in a more of a pro type way, it diversifies your risk in that you're putting a lot less capital and stuff, and you're putting a lot less capital into each specific ASIN and stuff as well. But use books is so simple. You probably already have, or someone you know probably has books they want to get rid of. Post on Facebook, post on Instagram, Snapchat, stuff like that. See if you can get some free books flowing to you. Become known as the book guy. Like I annoyed so many people when I was in college asking for their books, and it literally, that was the capital. And doing that, building the brand around Flips for Miles, was what led me to meeting tons of people that now are my friends, and that really taught me OA and stuff like that, and that lets me really fly with this stuff on that. So those are the 3 niches. In terms of action steps today on stuff, I want to just show you guys a quick keep it chart in terms of variations on stuff, because this is really important for shoes and clothing, which is what I'm definitely going to recommend you get ungated in first on that. So right, this Nike men's low top sneaker, kind of weird looking, whatever on that. So down here in keep it, you want to go to variations right here, and now down here, variations, and right, you want to go to reviews right here and filter top to bottom reviews. And now we can see which of the variations is selling the quickest. So we can see a gray size 11 is getting 6% of the ratings right here, 44 total right there, and it's the quickest selling one on the entire listing. You can also do it by price right here. And then I like the idea of scrolling through, making sure you got at least 1% on these or 20 ratings or above. But being able to break down variation, keep it charts, if I were you, I'd open up Keep on your own and just scroll through a bunch, basically, right there, as well as to do this OA in general on stuff and just arbitrage. You also want to get SellerAmp as well, so make sure you get a SellerAmp free trial. I'm part owning the company. It's a fantastic tool. It's $17 a month. You can try it free. There's no reason not to, really, on that. So action steps to get going with today right here. So get some books, send an ASAP. Get some free books. Facebook Marketplace. Let go, OfferUp, local yard sale Facebook groups. Check the old books you have. Talk to your family. Talk to your friends. Stuff like that. Get those in ASAP, because that's going to be your first initial revenue. SellerAmp free trial. Keep a subscription. Binge a ton of YouTube videos. Go watch the videos you're going to see recommended after this. Go watch some other videos on my channel. Stuff like that. Start really getting in the community. Join our Discord. It's completely free. Stuff like that. Get ungating done in either the beauty category I'd recommend or Nike, the brand, because remember, you don't have to do the category. For Nike, binge a bunch of OA videos while also getting books from thrift stores and those creative methods we discussed on that. There is no excuse stopping you. If you watch this late in the video, you're serious about it, get going. This can work. Yes, it's going to be hard. If it were easy, everyone would do it and everything, but you can make money with this if you will take the time to learn it and everything. You're in the right place. Let me know any questions you have down in the comments, as well as if you are interested in working directly with me to scale up for this Q4, I'd highly recommend you apply for my coaching program in the link in the description, where we can work directly together, where I can show you how I deploy a couple hundred grand a month, super profitable inventory, the coupons, the sites I like to buy from. I'll review your buys, stuff like that. So apply for that down below in the description, as well as the price is going up soon because we are in Q4 now. On that, so later this month the price will be going up. But have a great day, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.